Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Pigskin Addicts back again. It's been a while. I missed you guys. Shout out to all of you guys, man. Shout out to everybody who has continued to support me. I still see all of the messages, all of the messages you guys leave here on YouTube, the messages on Twitter, the DMs that I get on Twitter. Like I really appreciate it. And I can't believe you guys want me to come on here and talk. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. It's humbling thinking about it. And I really appreciate you guys. But everything is good for me, husband, father, doing all those duties. So that's why I don't have as much time to dedicate to YouTube as I previously did. But everything is good in my world, and I hope everything is good for you guys. But I don't want to delay it too much talking about myself. I want to get right into it. There's a lot that I'm going to be covering, over these next few weeks. I missed some stuff, obviously, from the beginning of the season. But I do want to take my time and try to get to everything. But as of right now, Chargers this weekend in Miami against the 1-4 Dolphins. There's really no guessing when it comes to what the Chargers are struggling at right now, particularly is up front with the offensive line. And I was a guy when the Staley era happened, right? When things were going bad in the Staley era, I was here on YouTube beating my drum saying, let's get rid of this guy. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. It's time to be done with him. I was on here banging my drum. I was right. Turns out that I was right. And turns out that the Chargers agree with me. Finally, they did. We brought in Jim Harbaugh. I was here banging the drum for Jim Harbaugh, giving you all of his accolades and what I thought he can do to help this franchise kind of get over the top, right? The Chargers have been close in several seasons, but they have never consistently gotten over the top. And I thought that's what Jim Harbaugh could bring to this team. And I still think he can bring that, but it would be unfair of me. I would be a hypocrite to come on here and not criticize Jim Harbaugh, GM, Joe Ortiz. I would be wrong to not come on here and criticize them. So this is what I'm doing now. Obviously, the Chargers are 3-2 right now. This is not the sky is falling video. None of that. But we are living in reality here. We live in reality here. Pigskin Addicts, we are here in reality. We don't do analytical slop. We don't pull up a bunch of numbers and just throw them out arbitrarily to try to justify this or that. The issues are clear. If you are a football fan, if you know anything about football, hell, even if you don't know anything about football, if you watch the Chargers, if you have watched the Chargers play offense this year, it's very clear what is going on and what Chargers need to improve on. Right? It's extremely clear. Now, I'm not here to shit on the offensive line. I'm not here to call these guys to the carpet and say X, Y, Z about them. I'm really not. These guys are doing the best that they can. And I sincerely mean that. I'm not saying that to be sarcastic. I'm not saying that to be an a-hole. None of that. They're doing the best that they can. The blame goes to Joe and Jim. They have put the offensive line, these guys who are a collection of backups. Let's just say what it is. From everybody on the offensive line right now, this is a collection of backups. With Joe being out from left tackle all the way to right, these are backups. On a good team in the NFL, these are backups, second, third string. Maybe some guys are practice squad. I don't know. Depends on how, a team like the Eagles, a team like the Chiefs, a team like the Bills, how they would view these guys that we have on our offensive line. But they're certainly not NFL starters, right? That's one thing we can agree on. They're not NFL starters. But they have been put in this position right now, a horrible position to start. And they're starting every game. They're doing the best that they can, but they just do not have the ability to put together good games, right? They just don't. They don't have it physically, mentally. It's just not there. These are not the best offensive linemen, by a long shot, right? We get that. We understand that. But the blame, where I slice it in half to Joe Ortiz, the Chargers at one point this offseason had $90 million worth of cap space. We did not spend that on offensive line pieces, which we should have. They re-signed Bradley Bozeman, who It was graded last year as one of the worst centers in the league, and is graded now this year as the worst center in the league. They had no reason to bring this guy back outside of nepotism. He played in Baltimore when Joe was in Baltimore. There's a relationship there. That's why they brought him back. This is a complete nepotism relationship, complete bullshit to me. And when you see Justin Herbert getting killed on Sundays, I don't care how good of a guy Joe Ortiz is. I don't care what people say about him. It's complete bullshit. You do not put your personal relationships over protecting your quarterback. That is completely unacceptable to me. So he drops down several notches in my book just for that. Bradley Bozeman has no business being on the NFL field. No business whatsoever being on the NFL football field, let alone protecting one of the best or attempting to protect one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Justin Herbert. No business. No business there. The Chargers signed Mekhi Becton from the Eagles. Now, on paper, hey, looks like a decent signing. But Mekhi Becton, most of his career, overweight, not engaged, a bust in New York before he got to Philadelphia. He had that good year in Philadelphia, comes over to the Chargers, and I'm not sure which Mekhi Becton we're getting. I've seen him on the sidelines a few times during games. They show him, he's huffing and puffing. I don't know. I don't know who we're getting. This is not the Mekhi Becton that we seen last year in Philly, though. I don't know if he's going to pick it up this season, turn it around. But this is certainly not the guy that we seen in Philly last season. It's just not. Right, so those two guys, I'm out on. Trey Pipkins, if you're a Charger fan, this is his 9th or 10th season with the Chargers. If you're a Charger fan, you've seen a lot of Trey Pipkins, and you probably don't want to see really that much more of Trey Pipkins. Again, he's doing the best that he can, but he's often injured, and his ability is he never was really a gifted player, but his ability now is on the downslope, and we can see it. Because he gets his ass kicked every single game. The Chargers, they went out and traded for Deculus from the Texans. And if you're an offensive lineman and you're getting traded from the Texans to anywhere else, with as bad as the Texans offensive line is, that tells you all you need to know. So just right there, I just gave you 4 guys, right? Outside of Zion Johnson. I can't even really grade Zion Johnson. All the 4 guys that I just mentioned right now, them playing as poorly as they are, I can't get a good grade on Zion Johnson, because if you have a trash offensive line, the 4 guys are not good and 1 guy is pretty decent, that decent guy is not going to stand out. So I don't know. I would have to see Zion Johnson with a more competent offensive line before I say, okay, yeah, he's been okay, or just throw him out with everybody else. I got to be fair. I got to be fair with him. I can't say that yet. I need to see what he can do with the decent offensive line. But all 4 guys that I just mentioned really no business being with the Chargers at all. And even if Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater were both healthy, if they were perfectly healthy right now at this point, you still have center guard issues, right? To where teams run stunts, teams run games and loops and all this stuff. The interior, right? The A gap, both B gaps and C gaps. Guard, center, guard. That's where it happens at. Bradley Bozeman, if you guys been watching games, all these games this year, there's at least 2 times a game where they show it in slow motion where Bradley Bozeman misses his blocks. He's either going left when he needs to go right or vice versa. And he is turning around, watching Justin Herbert be physically assaulted back there. That's what we've seen. They show it at least 2 times a game. At least 2 times a game. I've seen it 2 times. Every single Charger game. And the guy just doesn't... I don't know if he's... doesn't understand the offense or whatever, but he just... it's just not there. It just can't happen. So, everything that I have said, right? We've all seen it. There's no analytical stuff here. You don't have to be an NFL analyst. You don't have to know anything about football to understand what I just said, right? The offensive line gets Justin Herbert killed. Well, this is where I give Jim Harbaugh some of his blame, because the Chargers are 28th in pass block win rate. They damn near bottom of the league. There's only 32 teams. There's only 3 more spots they can go down before they are right there at the bottom, right? Only 3 more spots left where they can drop and be completely at the bottom. This is not a good pass blocking team. One of the worst in the league, right? This is who they are. This is what it grades out to. So with that 28th pass block win rate in the league, the Chargers are 6th in pass attempts. What? It doesn't make sense. What are you doing? Jim Harbaugh is a better coach than this. He is a better coach than this. And I want to see better from him. Greg Roman is going to get fired at some point. I don't know if it's going to be during this season or during the offseason, but he's going to get fired at some point. You cannot, as the head coach, you cannot allow a porous offensive line to block for a quarterback who is 6th in pass attempts in the league. 6. This is ridiculous. It does not make any sense. From a schematic standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. And I love Harbaugh. I love Harbaugh. I'm a Harbaugh guy. But there's no amount of Harbaugh-isms that can excuse this. This is basic, simple football. It doesn't make sense. If you suck at pass blocking, you should try to limit your passing. And the Chargers have not done this at all. If you're going to lose these games with the running backs having 40 carries or whatever it is. I don't care. But you have to protect your asset. Justin Herbert is the most important asset on this team, and you have to protect him. If you're not protecting him, you're not doing your job. And Jim Harbaugh is not doing his job right now. He has to take the reins from the. I don't know what they need to do. If anybody asks me this in the comments, I don't know what, outside of just giving the ball to the running backs more, maybe more of a screen game, maybe I don't know. But protecting Justin Herbert should be at the top of the list, because I'll tell you this much. If the Chargers do not win this game on Sunday, things are going to get very, very, very uncomfortable, because the Chargers, they still got 3 more division games left. If you're already at 3 losses with 3 more division games left, every team having a premium pass rusher, Kansas City, Chris Jones, the Raiders, Max Crosby, Denver, two guys, Cooper and Nick Bonito. They can get to the quarterback. The Chargers are going to see a bunch of pressure. They're going to see a bunch of pressure until they show that they can deal with it. And right now, week 6, they show that they can't. They are not even close to being in that area to deal with that pressure. Not even close. Not even close. So expect to see a bunch of blitzes from the Dolphins. Expect to see Herbert get hit a bunch, because it's been happening all 5 other games. So I don't expect anything different in this game. I just hope that they win. I really hope that they win, because things are going to get ugly. And there's not a fix for this offensive line. Yes, there are some trades you can make. Maybe there's some signings. Andre James, the backup center, I expect to see him at some point this season. Very soon, actually. So, hey, nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to save us. Jim has to get a hold of this. He has to get a hold on this. This is getting ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. And to be quite honest with you, it's scary. At some point, they're going to have to change philosophies. They started this year passing the ball, putting the ball in Herbert's hands. And yes, it's all fine and dandy if you can block for him. Something's going to have to change. They cannot continue to do this. They cannot. They absolutely cannot continue to do this. You see a guy in Cincinnati. You see what he's having to deal with right now, right? He has taken a lot of hits in his career, a lot of punishment behind a, suspect, questionable offensive line. You see what he's dealing with now. Things can get very, very scary really quickly if the Chargers do not protect Justin Herbert. And if they don't protect Justin Herbert, there's not going to be another quarterback who can come in and do what he can do. There's not going to be another quarterback who can roll to his left and make game-winning throws, right? There's not another guy who can do that. So knowing that you have a 1-of-1, you have to protect him. You absolutely have to protect him. That's the name of the game. Absolutely, 100% the name of the game. Protect Justin Herbert. This is Jim Harbaugh's first time with a team where he has actual full control in the NFL. When you look at his 49er stint, when he came in, that team was built ready to make playoff runs. It was built ready to make playoff runs. All they needed was some structure, and they needed a solid head coach. Him being at Stanford, him, being known as a tough, hard-nosed type of coach, a run the ball first type of coach, it worked out perfectly. But one of the big reasons why Jim left the San Francisco 49ers after just 4 years is because he clashed with the front office. Trent Baalke and Jed York. He clashed with those guys. Personnel decisions. It was a power struggle. They got into a pissing contest, and ultimately Harbaugh was the lowest on the totem pole, so they basically forced him out of there. That's why he was out of San Francisco. He didn't have full control. He didn't have control on these players. Most of these players that he had when they went to the Super Bowl, most of those guys were on the roster. He had, some say as far as, cutting some guys, some bubble guys, bubble roster guys and all that stuff. But the majority of the guys were there. The quarterbacks were there. The offensive line was there. Running back, defensive line, your linebackers, your safety. All of these positions were filled with very, very, very good and very talented players. This is a different situation here with the Chargers. This is going to require a lot more. If we're going to have success like the Niners did when Jim got there, we're going to have to build this roster out. And it's going to start with Jim. He has total control. He has final say over everything going on right now. So as far as the totem pole here, it's obviously Harbaugh 1, Herbert 2, but I think Ortiz is number 3. He's the guy on the bottom. He has to do a better job of fielding a team that can compete, a team that can actually put fear into people, because you cannot have your quarterback be good. You can't have a very good, productive wide receiver core. You can't have a defense that's talented and getting stops and then have a porous offensive line. That's not the way that this works. That it didn't work that way when Jim was in San Francisco. I know everything was already built for him, but the key to success was through running the ball. Obviously, the offensive line was big. They were nasty. You think about Alex Boone. You think about Joe Staley, Mike Hupati. You think about those guys. They were physical, extremely, extremely, extremely physical. Frank Gore, obviously. They had a lot of talent, and they were nasty. This team is not that at all, and they're not even close to it, and they haven't even really made any effort towards being that. Signing a Bradley Bozeman says that you are not trying to be that. That's putting your relationships, your personal relationships, over winning. And to me, that's a big issue. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Joe Ortiz. If the Chargers, if this year flames out, the Chargers do nothing on the offensive line, they flame out, end up missing the playoffs, there is going to be pressure on Joe Ortiz. You can guarantee it. You can bet your bottom dollar. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him. Not just from the fans, but Jim Harbaugh is going to put pressure on him, because this thing is not where it needs to be. It's absolutely not where it needs to be. Things should not be falling apart in week 6. And yes, we get it. Injuries happen, such and such, blah, blah, blah. But things should not be falling apart this easily. You look at the Niners. The Niners have had way more injuries than we have. They're still winning. They're still somehow finding a way to win. They have a really good coach in Kyle Shanahan. They have a really good GM in John Lynch. They have fielded a team to compete. They know what they're looking for. They got guys who fit their scheme. They have guys who know exactly what they want to do. They do it the right way. The Chargers, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Yes, we have the quarterback. Yes, we have the coach. There is a huge question mark with this GM. Huge question mark with this GM. If things do not turn out the way that we expect them to, or the way that we want them to, I would bet all of my money is probably going to be with the GM, because he cannot just keep going to Baltimore to get guys. Yes, Baltimore had some good teams. They didn't have that many great players for us to be poaching over there. And right now, they are 1-4. They out of it, down and out, right? Especially Lamar Jackson. We don't know when he's coming back from that hamstring. They're down and out. If they were that talented, they would have at least won a few games. They don't really have that much talent over there. So this Baltimore thing is just not working out for me. He has to get better. Jim has to put the reins on him. They got to be really focused and dialed in this offseason, because in year 3, we should really, really see some ascension in year 3. That's normally, when coaches take over, at least that used to be like the old thing back then. I need 5 years. I need to start rebuilding. We need to start getting a few drafts in. And by year 3, you should start seeing some ascension. If we don't see ascension by year 3, there's something wrong here. And I'm guessing it's probably with this GM. So hey, I'm not saying that the sky is falling, but we got to really look at who Ortiz is. Again, this is his first time being the GM. He spent over 20 years in the Baltimore organization. I know he interviewed a few times for GM roles, and those teams don't look like they were wrong for passing up on him. So I'm just saying, we got to see what's going on here. We got to see what's going on with him. I am not at all sold on him. The trade for Owe does nothing for me at all. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're going to give them time. But again, things should not be falling apart this fast. And I'm here to blow the warning the warning horn here. Let's see what happens, but it should not be falling apart this fast. I am, a little bit concerned here, but again, we're going to let the season play out. If we can get a win against the Dolphins, get some guys back, maybe we can start building up some momentum. I'm not out yet, not out on this season. I'm just saying, if they continue doing what they're doing, if they just, hey, fuck it with this offensive line, then things are going to go bad pretty quickly. But, the sky's not falling, not falling, but I'm saying, let's watch Joe. Let's see what he does. We know where we need extra bodies. We know where we need to make trades. We know where we need to make signings. We know which group that is. And if none are made, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I will reserve judgment until we see the results of what happens. So still early, week 6. I'm going to give it some time. But yeah, I'm going to come back and I'm going to cover some more topics. But you can believe that I'm going to come back and I'm going to cover this at some point. So that is all I got for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Again, thank you guys for rocking with me. I know I've been gone for a while, so I'm glad to be back. Glad to be talking Chargers football with you guys. And until next time.